modeling, and we taught so many parts. We talked, I think we'll just do like a recap and then we'll continue. So let me just go ahead and share my video at my screen. Okay. Can you see my screen? Hello?
Yes, we can see your screen.
Okay. Okay, fine. Okay, so last time we met, that was 2 weeks ago, we looked at modeling. And modeling, like we said, is all about creating relationships so that your tables can be able to communicate with each other, so that by the time you are trying to get your visualizations, you are going to be getting the correct, the accurate information that you need from them. And then recall that we talked about the different views. We have the report view, which is this. Okay, we have the data view, which is this. It gives you like, you see your different data sets here. And then we have the modeling view, where you actually do your modeling, you create your relationships. Also, remember last week we also talked about fact tables and then dimension tables, where we also talked about the primary keys and then the foreign keys. So the primary keys are always unique to every table that's like they are unique to whatever table they are located on. Let's take for example the product table now. The primary key for this product table is the product ID, because all the values here are unique, okay? And same for all other tables. For the sales team, we have a unique, that's the primary key, location and the rest. And then when you come to your fact table, so and then we talked about the dimension table. You can also refer to it as the lookup table. We said that the dimension table speaks specifically to a particular entity. So let's say, for example, the product table now. Everything you're going to get on your product table, it has to be speaking to your products. So if you look at what we have here, you can say category. It's telling you the category of the product. You have the subcategory, and also you have the product name. So you can see everything that is here speaks to to that particular products, okay? Same for the calendar, the location, the customer, and the rest. But when you look at your orders table, you find out that the orders table have like the primary keys of all these other dimension tables. And this time around, when you find those primary keys on your fact table, refer to them as foreign keys. Okay, these are actually the keys that you use to connect your dimension tables to your fact table. And then again, that last week, we also looked at the different relationships that you can have, where we talked about the one-to-many relationship, the many-to-one relationship, the many-to-many, and then the one-to-one. And then we said that you normally have your one-to-many relationship. Most times, the one comes from the dimension table, because that's actually the table you'll be using to filter and the rest. So when it comes this way, it simply means that what you have here, the key that is actually speaking to this is unique, and it's speaking to this particular table, which is your order table, that has a lot of like, that has many. Okay, let's say for example, you have products that has been ordered. Here you will see the products showing as just a unique key. You're going to see the product like, okay, let's say if we're using 001 to denote like the product ID, it's just going to be one here. But when it's on the order step, you can find it more than once, because probably different customers have ordered for it on different occasions. Likewise, when you have many-to-many relationship, it simply means that you don't have a unique key here. Okay, that means whatever key that is linking up to this, you have many of those um, um, column or whatever, many of those entities on a particular column reoccurring more than once. Then when you have one-to-one, one-to-one simply means the keys that you have here is unique to key 001. That means here also is just 00. And so likewise, when you have many to one, just like vice versa of one to many. And then we also looked at we also look at the properties. So we looked at different situations, probably when you're looking at your customers. Okay, your customers now. We looked at the different headings that you have under your properties. Here we have the name of the column or the table as the case may be. Here you have the description, probably you want to describe it as maybe based on something or whatever. This is where you do that. Then you have synonyms. Synonyms simply gives you the opportunity to like rename a particular column or table in so many ways that your clients might identify it with. Take for example, when we were looking at the customer table, your customer, for some people, they refer to their customer as clients, some refer to their customer as subscribers, you know. There are different other things that your customers could refer to as your customers. And this is where you can, you know, tell the system, okay, this is it. When you see somebody asking for clients, just know that the person is also referring to my customer. Then we went ahead to look at sorry, I'm trying to see. Went ahead to look at the formatting. Okay, so when you have is hidden, okay, sorry, before you get to is hidden, display folder. It means helps us to, like, let's say for example you want to group a particular set of columns in one particular folder. This is where you can do that. We talked about it last time. Also, if you want to hide a particular column, probably you're not using that, you can do that from here. You can do that from your field page, recall, where you just come here. This is like, if you can see this icon that looks like an eye, once you cross it out, it's going to hide that column for you. Likewise, you can do it from here. So it all depends. There are different ways to get to what you want, but this is what this place speaks to. Then you have the different formatting. Recall that we can also do the formatting from our fields pane, but when you are on the properties pane, you can also do that where you have to select if it's a text, if it's a number, if it's a decimal number, and the rest. And then we also looked at the advanced, where we do our categorization. So take for example, when you're dealing with, let me go to our location. Take for example, when you're dealing with, let's say, a city, you want to let your data know that when you come to city, you want to let it know that, okay, please categorize the city as city for me. If for example, it's a country, you want to let it know that, okay, please, whenever you see this, just know that it's a country, please categorize it for me. That way, your system will like know better of that you're dealing with a city, country, or whatever, latitude or longitude as the case may be. And then again, we also looked at what else did we look at that last week? Okay, I think that's like the summary of what we did the last time. And then we moved over to calculated columns, and which is where we're going to be starting off today. The calculated columns, recall that last week, I think we did some calculation under our others table. I'm coming. Okay, so for the calculated column, recall that last week we did a calculation for this total sales. In our initial data, we didn't have total sales as one of our columns, but that last week we looked at how we can create calculated columns, and that's where we're actually going to be starting today. So basically, calculated, okay, in Power BI, there's something we call DAX. DAX simply means data analysis expression. This is actually a language that we use in Power BI to communicate with our people to do. That's the language that Power BI understands. Now, you can use your DAX when you want to create calculated columns. You can use your DAX when you want to create a measure. You can use your DAX when you want to come up with queries. Okay, that's where you apply your DAX. Now, last week we looked at this total sales, and this is our DAX that we created, where we we were trying to find out, okay, we have our quantity column that tells us each product, as the case may be, the number of the quantity of the product, and then we also had our sales table. Here, actually, these sales, we are referring to it as more like the unit price. Okay, so we wanted to calculate the total sales. So I sold 3 products, and then I sold them at the rate of $1,045. What's my total sales like? What is the total sales for that? Now, to calculate that, our normal mathematics is to simply multiply this with this, and then you can get your total sales. And that's what we did here. This time around, just that we used a DAX. And how did we achieve that? You go to on your table, you ribbon here, you find out that we have what we call the new column. When you click on the new column, it comes up with okay, maybe we'll just do it again and let's see. But I'll delete it at the end of the day since we already have one running. Guys, help, sorry. Ladies, please, are you following me? Hello?
Hello.
Okay. Hello? Can you hear me?
Please.
Yes.
Okay, please.
Yes, we can
Okay.
hear you.
Okay. Okay, so back to so when you want to create a new column, all you simply need to do is go to your ribbon here and click select the new column. It comes up like this. Now you want to name your column. Remember that for anything you are doing, it's always good, it's always advisable to name your column so that whenever you look at it, you understand what you have, like we are referring to. Now we want to look at our total sales. I just want to go over it again, even though we already have it here. So you can go ahead and name your column, which is total sales. Equal to, now what do we want to achieve? Recall, for you to get your total sales simply means multiply our quantity. Hold on, we have a discount here. I'm sorry. Let me look at this and see what I have here. Sorry, please. I just discovered that we have a discount column. Sorry. Let me see something. I want to see what I have here. Okay, come on, please. I just want to see if everything I have under my discount is 0. Okay, we have 1. So we can apply this discount. Oh, okay. Sorry, my bad. So I didn't even discover that we have something discount. So discount simply means after you have calculated your quantity with your sales, probably you now discounted for the person. And I just wanted to find out whether it's just
Chama,
0
that
or...
discount is probably a percentage.
Okay, let's find out. It's a whole number.
So
It's actually
maybe,
a whole
yeah,
number.
okay. I'm just wondering why it will be 0 and 1.
Exactly,
If we change it to
exactly.
percentage, it might come out as like different things that add up to 100 or
Okay, I get you, Inka, but I don't know. I don't want to start changing their data for them. But so I was actually
let's
trying
leave
to...
it the way it is so it
Sorry?
doesn't confuse it.
Yeah, let's just leave it the way it is. So basically, for some, from what I'm seeing here, for some of the products they had 0 discounts, but for some they had 1. Let's just assume that this data set is correct, even though it's looking funny. Okay, so what it means is that we need to put that into consideration. I didn't notice this initially. Sorry, my bad. So what it simply means, when I multiply this with this, where is it? Multiply this with my sales, then I might have to subtract whatever it's here. I just want to believe that this is correct. Okay, so for me to calculate my new total sales, what I simply need to do is click on And then I can go ahead and name it total sales. Now, when you want to reference your column, once you put in your square brackets, you're letting Power BI know that you are talking. You want to talk. You're actually referencing the column. That's like the symbol for columns in Power BI. Now, what do I want? I want to get my quantity, and Power BI is intelligent to some extent. It gives you options, and this is what I'm looking for. You can go ahead and select it. I want to multiply it with my sales, so I'll just go ahead, put in my sales, and then it gives me the sales column. That's it. And then probably subtract my discounts. We're assuming that this discount is correct the way it is. So I will still reference my discount column, which is this. And then I'll tell Power BI, please go ahead. Oh, okay. It's giving me this error. You know, before now I calculated total sales. And normally in Power BI, I'm not supposed to have two columns having the same heading. So Power BI is telling me you already have something like this. So maybe I'll just go ahead and let me just remove the S so that I make a difference. Sorry. I'll still correct it. What am I doing? Click OK. Okay, so now, because the first total sales that we calculated, we kind of ignored our discount column, and that's why you're having two different values. But if you watch it closely, you find out that the difference isn't much anymore. In this case, we have it rounded up to a whole number, but here it's giving us in decimal number. So you can decide to round up, or you can decide to leave it as a decimal number. For me, I'm going to leave it with this decimal number because it gives me like the accurate result of what I'm looking for. So I can go ahead and delete this because from the look of things, this is not correct anymore. What I'll do is just right click on it and then click on delete. Delete. Yeah, please go. I don't want you there anymore. Okay. So we are left with our, yes, we are left with our new sales table now. Okay. So that's how to work around your calculated column. All you need to do, understand what you want to achieve and then go ahead and do that. This is how to create a calculated column. But we are going to also look at how to create measures. So in Power BI, it's better off to work with measures. Why is that so? Measures, of course, has like more advantage of not occupying much space in your Power BI. What do I mean? When you create a calculated column, it of course automatically occupies like a whole column, and that column is like occupying a space in your memory or whatever. But for measures is kind of when you create a measure, it states it doesn't like the measure is already acting, but it doesn't calculate automatically until when you call it up for you to use that measure. That is the only time it will do its own calculation. So it doesn't take much space as calculated column would do. And because in Power BI, most times we want our system to perform well, we are also looking out for our performance of our system. It's always advisable to use calculated measure. To use measures instead of calculated columns. But in situations where you cannot do without your calculated column, please go ahead and use your calculated columns. Creating one column will not cause any problem for you, just so you know, so that by the time you are probably checking out for performance of your system, if you are using a calculated column instead of a measure, it's something you can actually look at and then probably go for the measure so that you can optimize the performance of your model. So that's it for that. Then let's go over to report. So we're not supposed to do visualization, but for the sake of our DAX, I might have to bring in one or two visualization so that we can understand better what we are talking about. So from what we've done so far, I want to see the total sales of what we have done so far. I want to use a table visual. So I'll just go ahead and click on my table visual. Okay. I'm coming. Let me see. And I want to look at the different, probably, let me see, the different products and the sales so far from them. I can go ahead and choose from my products, product name, or let's go for category so that what, okay, let me just go with the product name. Product name, please. Where's my mouse, please, baby? Okay. And I want to see the sales for that. Where's my total sales? That's where I have my total sales. I want to see this total sales for all these products. I don't know if you can see my table. So what this visualization is telling me is that these are the different products that I have. This is the total sales for them. But I want to go ahead and create like a measure so that you can see what I'm talking about, where you can use a measure to also achieve the same thing that calculated column can do. So for us to create a measure, all you need to do, go to your ribbon, you will see where you have new measure. If you don't want to go through that route, you can decide to go to your under your orders table. When you right click on it, you will see different options, but what we're looking for is new measure. So you can go ahead and click on new measure. Coming up, please hold on. Okay, so it has come up with a new measure for me. So now I still want to create total sales, just the way I created the first one. I want to create total sales, but this time around, I want to use a measure. Now, in measure, we have like two different functions. There is the aggregation function and the iterative function. I don't know if I'm going too deep, but let me just explain like an overview of what it means. Aggregation function simply means you are trying to like give, okay, let's say when you are using sum, you want to sum up like what you have on a particular column. You want to sum up and get your total answers. But iterative function simply means you are not going to just look at just the column. I want you to go through the rows one by one, get me the calculation for each row, and at the end of the day, give me like an aggregated, like give me a total of what you have. What do I mean? When you see sum, okay, let me just write and use like sum for example. So sum is a function in Power BI. Okay, sum simply means please go to a particular column. I have a column that I want to sum up. Go to that column, go through the column, give me a sum of everything on that column, and then Power BI will respect that and give it to you. But in this case now, when you have sum x, that's it. Sum x simply means please don't just go to the column just like sum. I want you this time around to go through my rows one by one, do the calculation for me, and at the end of the day, sum it up and give me the answer. I don't know if I'm clear. I just wanted us to see the different functions that we can most likely experience in Power BI. So you will see sum x, you will see average x, you will see multiply x, just divide x like that. Whenever you see that x coming behind it, it simply means instead of doing the calculation just on your column, please go through the rows one by one and do the calculation for me. And that's the measure that we're going to be using for this particular one. I want to create another measure still with the name total sales. Recall that I removed the function that has total sales as the name, like the column that has total sales with the X when I created my total column. So I can go ahead with this particular one. So total sales, what do I want to do? I want Power BI to go back to my data sets where I have my data set. I don't know if I can go back there. Okay, well, let me just do that and then I'll go back and explain. I want Power BI to go back to my data set, go through the columns this time around, and go through the rows, sorry, this time around, do like a row by row calculation for whatever I want to do, and then give me the final answer. So what I'm going to use here is going to be sum x, okay? So I go in and put in my sum x. That's my function that I want to use. Then the good thing about Power BI is that whenever you're using this, it gives you like hint of what you're expected to do. So if you look at what I have here now, it's telling me sum x. The next thing I'm supposed to put in is a table. What table am I looking at? Okay. Now the table I'm looking at is my order table because that's where I have my quantity, that's where I have my sales, and that's also where I have my discount. Where's discount again? Yeah, see discount here. So I want this particular measure to go to my orders table. That's what I'm dealing with. Please go to my orders table. So I'll go ahead and type orders. The good thing about Power BI, like I said initially, is that it's intelligent. It has some level of artificial intelligence. So as you're typing, it's giving you like options. Is this what you want to achieve? From what I can see, it's already telling me, it's already bringing out the orders table. Yes, this is what I want. Go ahead and click on it. Okay, I want to look at my orders table, comma. What expression do you want to tell it to do? So what I want it to do is that I want it to sum up my quantity. Sorry, I want the quantity column to multiply my sales column and then subtract the discounts. Okay, so I can go ahead again. And you remember I said whenever you want to refer to column, use a square bracket. So I can go ahead, use my square bracket and start typing quantity. Once you're typing, Power BI gives the option. Please go ahead and just choose it and save yourself the stress. I want the quantity column to multiply my column. That's it. And then after that, please subtract my discount from that and give me the answer. Discount, that's it. So I'll just go ahead and click on that. Oh, I didn't close my bracket. Okay, but it will do that for me. Okay, so this is my measure now. If you go to my fields pane, you can see that this is the measure we just created now. Of course, the icon is different from the others. So this is the icon for measure. This is the icon for calculated column. Now, this measure, you can only see it on your fields pane. If you want to now see it, like it doesn't go and add up on your data set. Like, this is our data set. Remember when we did the calculated column, we were able to see our total sales that we calculated here on our data set. But this total sales that we just calculated with our measure, you won't see it on this data set. That's why I said measure doesn't really like occupy space. But by the time you want to do your visualization and you want to see it, once you drag it onto your canvas, you are going to see what you have done. But the measure will always be here waiting for you. And it will only do like consume some space or do whatever it has to do whenever you drag it to this place. But while it's here, it's not taking up any space on your model. So once I click on this now, I want to see it on this my table. Now, can you, oh, wait, let me zoom this. Let me, oh, this. I want you people to see it. Let me put it on focus mode so you can see it. Okay, this is clearer. Cool. So can you see this is the total sales that we calculated when we did our calculated column, and this is the total sales that we had when we did our measure. Notice that the two of them have the same numbers, of course, because that is the same thing that we were doing. The only difference is that when we did our calculated column, we had to tell the Power BI, please just bring the columns for me, multiply them out, and then subtract, and then give me the answer. But for measures, we use like an iterative function of it. I just went ahead and told you, please go through the rows one by one, do the multiplication for each row, and then at the end of the day, sum up and give me my final answer. So you find out that at the end of the day, I don't even need this tool. I am okay with my total measure, my total sales, which is my measure, because this is actually what will actually help the performance of my model. I don't know if I'm clear enough. I don't know if you understand. If you are following me, if you are following me, please let me know. If you have any question, please go ahead and ask. Hello. Hello, ladies.
Hello.
Okay. So should I continue, or do you have any question?
I think you can continue.
Okay. 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 So that's it. Um, okay. There are other measures that you can also do. Let's go for another measure. Hello. Hello. Hello.
Hi, Chama, we can hear you.
Okay. Sorry. Okay. So like I said, there are other measures that you can calculate. Okay. So there are other measures you can calculate. Okay. We have let me just show us different functions. We have the calculate function. We have the divide function. It depends on what you want to achieve. But I want us to look at how to create like a calendar on our data set, like a date table for our data set. So I want to go ahead and see how we can use DAX for a table. Okay, sorry. Okay, so far we already have a calendar table, but there are some data sets that you can have, and at the end of the day, it's coming in, but it's not coming in with a calendar or a date table. Now, that means you are left with the option of creating your own calendar table or your own date table. Now, when you are faced with such, all you need to do is please go to your ribbon, click on new table. I want to create a new table, but this time around, I'm going to name it probably my date table because I want to create a date table. So let me just go ahead and name it date table. I'm still going to make use of DAX. Now, I want to create a date table, and Power BI has a function called calendar. Say it here. That's the function. Now, you can either decide to use the calendar or use the calendar auto function. In a situation where you're using the calendar, it will simply ask you for your start dates and end dates. So it wants me to create a date table for you. What date are we looking at? When do you want us to start and when do you want us to end? You can go, okay, let's say I want Power BI to start, let's say for 2020, let's start from January, 1st of January 2020. Now, when you want to give your calendar the command to put in your date table, please check to know the date on your system, your date, the format of your dates on your system. So looking at mine now, you find out that for mine, it's coming like this: your day before the month, and then the year. For some, most times, if it's an American dating system, it's always the month that comes first before the day. But it depends on the setting on your system will determine what format you're going to follow. Using the format I have on my system, I'm going to start with the day and then the month and then finally the year. So I want this date table to create a date for me starting from the 1st of January 2020 and probably the last day of January of 2020, which is the 31st of December 2020. So you can go ahead and tell Power BI, okay, please, I need it to be 0, 1, 0, 1, 0, 1. Sorry, 2020. Please. Okay, I have my date table now. Let me just go ahead and bring it up. Oh, sorry, I'm still on this. Okay, please, I need my date table. Okay, now notice something. It's giving me error. Something is wrong with this my date table. So what could that be? Power BI doesn't recognize. Okay, sorry, hold on. I'm coming. Oh. Hello. Okay, so can you see my database up now? So I can I have the 1st of January 2020 up to, okay, by the time you get to the last date, you find out that the last day will be 31st of December 2020. That's a way to create a date table on your Power BI. Another thing you can decide to do, okay, from this my date table, I want to bring out my year. How do I do that? You can still achieve that. So what you need to do is simply go to new column, still on your date table, click on new column. You want Power BI to give you the year on this particular column. You can go ahead and name it year equal to year. Okay, that's it. Year. Okay, year is the function that I wanted to bring out. From which table? From where? From where am I going to get the year from? Go ahead and reference your date table, which is sorry, your date column. That's it. Which is this? That's this column now. Oh, it's off again. What's up? Okay. So I can go ahead and close it, and then it will generate my year column for me. Okay, that's it. Probably, if in this case now you're not going to be seeing different year because we just um, generated a date table for just 2020. If, for example, we did we generated a year a date table for maybe, let's say, from 2015 to 2020, you find out that you have different years for each of the dates. Likewise, if you want to create, let's say, the month, you just want to extract the month to be on its own, go ahead and still click on your new column and tell it month. Please name it my month column, and then use the function month. You still reference your date column, which is date, and like that you can create another column for months. Okay, that's it. Okay, so for January it's telling me 1, for February it's telling me 2, for March it's telling me 3, and like just like that. Okay, please, I don't want you to give me the month. Can you give me the days? Just like that, you still go ahead, create a new column, and so on and so forth. But I want us to look at another way you can create your your date table. So for this, what do I do? Okay, let me just go ahead and delete this table. I want to delete this man. I want to delete this table. So please go ahead and delete this for me. I don't need it anymore. So that is one way of creating a date table, just in case maybe when you have your data sets, you notice that there is no date table on it. And you know, date table is very important for our visualization, because in situations where you have to do time intelligence, date table is very important. So for some data sets, you find out that you have a date table that is coming. Okay, let's say for example your orders table. Your orders table has a date column on it. It even has order date and ship date. This is fine, but for calculation in Power BI, just for you to have accurate information, it's always better to have a date table that has all the all the dates for the period of time that you are trying to do a calculation for. Like, have all the dates listed in a continuous order. What do I mean? So you have first, second, third, fourth. But if you look at this date table here, like this date column 9, you find out that you have the 25th of September. The next thing you have 20th of June. It's possible you don't have any 26th of September here. And for you to have like very accurate information of what you want, it's always best to be able to deal with a table that has all the dates on it. That way, by the time you're looking at, maybe let's say you want to know for each month what was it, it can give you like the accurate information of what you want. Now, I want us to create another date table. This time around, we're going to be using the calendar auto. For you to do that, because we're creating a table, you go to your calendar, your ribbon, sorry, and click on new table. I'm still going to name it date. That was actually the reason why I even deleted the other table. This time around, I'm not going to use the function calendar. I'm going to use the function calendar auto. So what calendar auto does is that it goes ahead to look at your data set that you already have and try to populate like the start dates from that data set and the end dates. So let's say you have a data set that is reading from, let's say, 2015 to maybe 2020. What your calendar auto will simply do is to go to that data set, start from the 1st of January 2015, which is where you have your data set, like the first data, the earliest data set, and then it will end with the last date that you are, like the latest dates you have on your data set. So I'll just go ahead and click on calendar auto. Once I click on calendar auto, I'll just click on enter. What it will do is to just go and check my data set and look for all the dates you have there. So from what we can see now, you can see that from what it has done for us, you can see that we have a data set that started from 2014 for this particular data set. And then, of course, the last date from what you can see here is, sorry, let me use this and see. Oh, this is not giving me everything that I want. But if we scroll down, telling me that the last date I have there is the 31st of December 2018. So from what I can see now, I can see that this my data set, the dates that we have for it, it's between 2014 and 2018. Now, when you have this, you can still go ahead and start generating your year, your months, your just different columns for this particular date table. Now, there's another thing I need to make let us understand is that for some company, you find out that their fiscal year doesn't start January. Yes, majority of them, the companies start from January as their first month. But for some companies, you might find out that maybe they are starting every year. Their start of year starts from maybe let's say September of every year. That is like their first quarter of their own year. That's when their own year starts. Now, this for this date or calendar also, where you have your brackets, you can now tell Power BI, please, for my own company or for whatever I'm doing at this moment, by default, when you don't put in anything there, it's already recognizing the fact that it's the normal 12 months in a year where you have January as the first and by the time I go ahead and specify a particular, let's say, January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August. So let's say for us, our start date is, okay, let's go for July, which is 7th. And click on this. Notice what will happen. Okay, so can you see that it started from August, which is like the new, okay, so for my company, our end date is every July of every year. That's when we close for the year. Then once we get to August, we start up a new year. Notice that Power BI will automatically go and generate from what Power BI understands now is that from August of every year, that is when your own data set starts. And then it's just go ahead and tell you can populate the data set from August. Likewise, if you want it, let's say for maybe from January, February, March, maybe from April, once you put in 3, it will start from April, just like that. I just wanted us to know this part. Then you can still go ahead and create the other columns that you want. But there is what I say, an easier way of achieving this if you don't want to go through this route, and that is where you can import a date table using your query this time around. And if you want to achieve that, let me go back to my home. If you want to achieve that, you can do that by simply going to your get data. You say, let's say, click on your blank query. Okay, so because some people don't like going through the stress of having to do all these columns one by themselves, there is already an existing let's say query. Do I call it query or what? More like yes, query, where you already have the date code on it. So you can decide to bring in that into your Power BI. We might not be able to, I don't know if you can still see my screen. I want to go find my, come in please. Okay, that's that. Come in. Date code, table code. Okay. Can you still see my screen? I'm on my date table code notepad. I don't know if you can see it.
Yes.
Okay, please. Okay, so this is
Yes.
like it's like a code that was generated by some people, I don't know, somewhere, but it simply speaks to different columns on our date table. So you if you want to go through it, you can go through it at your own time, but all we simply need to do, I mean, I don't want to go through the stress of having to do this by myself one by one. I can just go ahead and copy this. I want to import it into my, what's happening? Sorry. Again, control. Okay, I want to import it into my Power BI. I'll just go ahead and copy it, then get back to my Power BI where I have what's happening. Okay, there's the start. I want to get data. Okay, my query opened actually. Where is it? Okay, that's it. So what I actually did is I went back to my Power BI, clicked on get data, clicked on blank query. When you click on it, that's actually what opened up here. Okay, and I want to like put this code that I've copied because I want to create a new date table. I will simply go to my advanced editor. When you get to your advanced editor, it opens up this for you. Please just remove what you have here and like overwrite this what you have here already. Paste that date code. Now, if this is okay, Power BI will tell you, okay, no syntax error has been detected, and that's what it's telling me. It will give you like a code, like it's okay, this is okay. But if something is wrong with the code, it will let you know. So please go ahead and tell it done. Done. Now it will bring out parameters for you to fill in. Okay, this data set that you want to bring in, when is your start date? Okay, you can go ahead and say, okay, please, my start date is 01/01/2014, and date is 1st of December 2018, and then physical year. I mean, my physical year is the normal this thing, which is just, I can even decide to leave it empty. Okay, I think I cannot leave it empty. The normal way anyway. Invoke. Now, the good thing about this code that we copied is that it's coming in with the different columns. This time around is even in details. In fact, most of us prefer to go with this because it will save you the stress of having to go through creating a year column, quarter of the year, month. Like this one is very detailed. It has all the information, all the different columns you need for your analysis. So that is what this has done for us. It has already imported this for us from our through the Power Query. Sorry, through the advanced editor. Now you can go ahead and like rename it. Okay, I want it to be called my date table. I can go ahead and name it dates. Sorry, let me use it. And that's it. By the time I close and apply and get back to my Power BI, it's coming up. Okay, so notice that on my fields pane now, you can see where is it? I'm coming. Okay, that's it. See the date table I just imported now. If I click on it now, so this is the table I just brought into my Power BI. So these are the different ways you can create a table, like a new table in Power BI, a date table I mean to say now. You can either decide to do it by yourself by going through the different DAX functions, or you can decide to import it. But you can only do this when your data set doesn't come in with its own data, like its own date table. But from this data set that we already have a date table, which is the calendar. So for this, you might not need to, worry yourself about bringing in your date table. But for some data sets, you find out that this is not there, and that means if you are going to be looking at time intelligence, there is need for you to bring in your own date table. So these are the different ways you can bring in your own date table. So that's that for our date table. I don't know if there's any question at this point. I'm still going to delete this date table because I don't even need it here. But I just wanted us to see how you can bring in a date table into your data set and work with it. Any question at this point before we proceed to hierarchy? Any question? Okay. So That's it for the date table. Now, I'm going to go back to my modeling view. That's actually the date table that we created. I will have to take this man off later on, but now it's not disturbing me. Now, in our data set, sometimes you might need to do like a hierarchy. What do I mean by a hierarchy? Just like the name. When you, okay, let's say you are dealing with location. Let's look at the location or products. Yeah, products. So if you look at my products table now, you find out that we have like a category. We have a subcategory, and we also have product name. What it simply means by looking at it, it simply means that, like, let's say, under the category, it's further divided into subcategories. And under your subcategories, that's where you're going to get the different product name. Now, I want to create a hierarchy in such a way that by the time I start creating my videos, by the time I create a video, I can be able to drill down to get like, okay, from the category, I want to see the subcategories and like that. So for me to create a hierarchy, how do I go about this? I already understand how my hierarchy is going to work. The category has to come first, followed by the subcategory, and then finally the product name. What you need to do is just go to your category column, okay? Right click on it, and then you will see create hierarchy. I want to create a hierarchy, starting with my category. You click on create hierarchy. It's creating a hierarchy for me. You will see the symbol. Okay, so that's the symbol. It's telling you, okay, this data set is actually like it's in a hierarchy kind of. Now notice on my properties pane that is now having a heading like the name as category hierarchy. I can decide to change the name. I can decide to leave it like that. I can decide to say, okay, let me call it products hierarchy since I'm dealing with products here. It's up to you. It depends on what you want to name your data or your column or whatever be the case. Now, if you want to give a description, you can go ahead and do that. We've already talked about this one, but I'm just concerned about the hierarchy now. Now, look at where I have hierarchy. Okay. Look at where I have hierarchy. You can see that I have my category column already showing that is under a hierarchy. Now I want to bring in the subcategory and then finally the product name. All I need to do now, from where I have this drop down, select a column to add to the level. You just go ahead and click on the subcategory. Notice that you now have your subcategory added to like coming under your category hierarchy. I'm not done yet. I still want to add my product name. I can go ahead and click on that. When you click on that now, when you're done with this now, you need to apply filter. Sorry, you need to apply level changes. If you don't click on this, it's not going to affect any change on your data, your model as a whole. So when you click on this, Power BI will automatically recognize, okay, we have a hierarchy of data sets here. Okay, this is actually the hierarchy. Can you see under my product hierarchy now, I have my category, subcategory, and product name. By the time we start doing visualization, you see the essence of this hierarchy. You understand it better, you appreciate it more. Okay, that's one way to achieve this. Now, I can also do this under my location. So under my location, you notice that we have city. I don't need this location ID, I don't need this postal code, but we have city, we have region, we have states. And you know that when you're referring to region refers to like maybe, let's say, south, north, west, like that. And then when you come under your region, you get your states, and under your state, you can now get your city. So this is like a particular, another example of somewhere you can apply your hierarchy. Now, for me to do this now, just like I told us before, you right click on that because, okay, first and foremost, you must always identify which of them will come first in the hierarchical structure. And from what we can see here, region is like the topmost. So I'm going to right click on my region and click on click on create hierarchy. It will go ahead and create my hierarchy for me. Now, I'm going to show us another way we can actually achieve this hierarchy without having to go through our properties pane. Notice that under my properties pane is already showing that this is the hierarchy. You can decide to rename it, or you can decide to leave it like that. Now, under the hierarchy, okay, this is my hierarchy. You can only see that this is only the region that is showing for now. Now, but I want my state and my city to come under this hierarchy. What I can do is click on this state and drag it to that region hierarchy. When I get to that place and leave it, it's going to create that hierarchy for me. Okay, can you see it? This is the state under my region. Sorry, the state coming under the region, still on the hierarchy structure. The same thing for city. I want city to come under state. I will drag it and put it on top of my region hierarchy. Once I leave it there, it's going to create another hierarchy for city. Now, can you see you have your region, you have your state, you have your city under your hierarchy. Now, from what I'm seeing here, I'm sorry, guys. From what I'm seeing here, I can see that my region is already categorized, my city is already categorized, but my state is not yet categorized. Now, how can I achieve that? Recall how we did it initial time. I think I'll ask a question at this point. How can we achieve that? So can somebody volunteer to tell us how we can achieve this? Because, okay, this symbol is telling me that this particular region is already categorized, likewise city, but I'm not seeing it on state. So that means I haven't even done the categorization for state. So how do I achieve this? Who can help us? Hello, guys. Sorry. Hello, ladies. Can you hear me? Somebody should help us out. How can we achieve, like, I want to categorize that states as states. How do I do that? How can I achieve that? Hello? I'm sure you can hear me. Oh. Hello, can you guys hear me? Or is it just me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay.
I don't know why that noise.
Okay. Okay, somebody should help us, please. I just wanted to be sure that we are following. We have like 6 people here, 7 people. Should I call names? Just try. You can just try. At the end of the day, we can just to be sure that we are following. Okay. Okay.
I think you should just call someone. I saw someone running out. Is it so that they will not call the person?
I just wanted to be sure that we are following. That's why I wanted somebody to give it a try. So that
We could try.
okay, please go ahead.
If we click on state, if you
Okay.
click on state itself,
Okay.
and then scroll down,
Okay.
advanced,
Okay.
data category,
Okay.
then we can choose. So for state, excuse me, yeah, that's state, yeah, it's a province.
Okay. Thank you very much. That's it. Thank you so much. So can you see on our field space now, we now have that icon on the state. Thank you so much. So that's how to achieve that. So yeah, I think that's it. Any other thing we need to cover? We have covered hierarchy, we have covered category, we have covered. So another way to even do that categorization, that's one way, going through your properties pane. Another way to achieve that, sorry, let me. Let's start my states. Okay. No, I don't want to. Yeah. So another way to achieve that categorization is by clicking on the states. Notice that on my ribbon, you can see the different options where you have states, data type, format, summarization, data category. So you can also do this from here. You can still go ahead from here and choose whichever that fits in. If it's state, if it's country, if it's county, if it's city, continent, whatever. So you do this. Please, it's always advisable when you have data set like this, please, it's always good to categorize it, because by the time you start doing your visualization, let's say if you are coming up with a map as your visual, you want to be sure that, okay, my map understand that this is a state, it understand that this is a city, a continent, or whatever. That way, you're you're going to help it with giving you the accurate information about that particular data set. So that's it for that. I don't know, don't have any question at this point. I think we have covered all we need to cover. Any question at this point? Hello? Do you have any question?
None from me.
Okay, thank you. Okay. Do I ask my own questions? I just wanted to be sure that everything we said today, we were able to grab it, to understand it. Do I ask my own question? Is that fine by you people?
Yeah, you can ask.
Okay. Okay, let's go back to our data sets. Let's go back to our modeling. Which question do I ask now? Okay.
Can I ask a question while you're trying to ask us one?
Yes, please.
Okay, please, can you re-explain the iterative and aggregation functions?
Sorry, please, Onapi, please come again. I didn't get that question.
I was saying that, please, can you re-explain the iterative and aggregated functions? Like
Okay.
the differences, yes. Thank you.
Okay, let me go back to my Power BI. So, let me just try and come up with something. So, when you are referring to aggregation and then iterative function, it simply means that for aggregation, just like the name, it's more like just give me a lump, like go to my column. If it's a place that I need to do like a sum, please just go to that column. Let's say, for example, if it's on my sales column, go to my sales column and give me the total sales on that column. What it will do is that it will just go to that column and start adding it for that column, just for that column. But if I want to use the data set and to explain this, but if it's like some x, which is an iterative function now, I'm simply telling it, please don't just go to that column and let me bring up my other table, please. Let me use that to explain. Okay, so this is what I have here now. Okay, now I want to do like a sum of my sales column. So I can go to this sales column now and give it like and tell Power BI, please do a sum of this sales column for me. It will simply just go ahead and add everything that I have here. But by the time I tell it to do a sum x, which is an iterative function now, I'm simply telling it, please don't just go to this column and do this. I want you to go row by row now. So come to this first row, look for my quantity, pick it up, look for my sales, pick it up, do a multiplication for the two, give me the sum, go to the next row, do another multiplication for the quantity and the sales, keep it for me, go to the next row, keep doing this. By the time you are done going through the rows one by one, come at the end of the day and give me the total sum of everything you have on that column and give me my answer. So you find out that iterative function helps you to avoid certain things. So in this case now, I don't even need to have this total sales column here, because I can bypass it by using that iterative function. Instead of telling Power BI, just go and do, like, give me just for this column. I can bypass this man and tell Power BI, please go ahead, look at the different rows for me one by one. Come up with each one, come up with the answer for each row. At the end of the day, still do a sum for it, like add up the whole column and give me my final answer. So it will just go ahead and do that for you. I don't know if it makes sense at all.
Yeah, much clearer. Thank
Okay.
you. So are there other like there will be the normal function and then the aggregated function and the iterative function. Are there other ones aside sums also, aside sum and sum x?
Of course. The
Okay.
Power BI has so many functions. We have the calculate function. We have the, okay, just like when we talked about dates. When we looked at dates, when we looked at year, when we looked at months, when we looked at all all those things we had coming up, they are functions in Power BI. Likewise, you have your divide, you have your, oh, that reminds me, we were supposed to look at quick measure. We are supposed to look at quick measure. So there are, but before I get to that one, there are different functions you can achieve with Power BI. It all depends on what you want to achieve. But I just wanted us to know that in Power BI, okay, like we have the divide function. Let me not use sum anymore. Divide function, when I see this, I know that Power BI is just going to be concerned with a particular, with maybe depending on the columns, the numerator, the denominator that I'm going to specify to it. But once I have divide x, like, sorry, I want it to come up. Okay, sorry, it's like divide does not have x. So let's say average. Okay, so average has an iterative function. When I see this average, I just want Power BI to just go through the particular column and give me the average. But once you see average x, it's telling me, okay, it's no more just the normal going through the column. I want you to go through my whole data set now, row by row. There are other functions that has the x and the without the x, but there are other functions like calculate. You have calculate. It's a function in Power BI. In fact, calculate seems to be like the expression that we always use in Power BI to calculate so many DAX function. Okay, we have, apart from calculate, we have so many of them. It depends on what you want to achieve. And the good thing about Power BI, once you start typing, it will bring out like options for you. Okay, what do you want to achieve? Is it or is it add column? Is it add missing item? Is it add cross filter? If you start typing with B, is it like a blank? Is it like, there are different functions. The truth is that DAX is something that is, as you are working with Power BI, you get to learn about it every day, every day. It's just like, for example, let's say rank. If it's somebody that is working maybe in a school and you're coming up with, let's say you're looking at student scores, and then at the end of the day, you have already done your summation and then you've done your average, and you want to like rank according to the first position, second position. This is a function that you can use in Power BI to achieve this. So you just tell it, okay, please, I want you to rank these people's based on, maybe based on their average now. Give me like who has the highest average. Of course, probably you tell it whether it's descending or ascending. Please go ahead, look at it, give me like a rank. So even if you have, let's say, 1,000 students, instead of you to now come and be doing it manually with your head, trying to figure out who has the topmost score, and then giving the person the first position and the rest, just go ahead and use something like rank, and then Power BI will go ahead and like give you like the positions from the first to the last person. In fact, it's so beautiful that just the way you have a tie, when you have maybe first and then maybe two people are coming second, 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 Power BI understands that after second, 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 the next position should be, that's second, third, fourth. The next position should be the fifth one. So that's the beauty of Power BI. It has a lot of functions, but as you're working with it every day, you get to be exposed to all those functions and how to use it. Depending on when you need it, you know the particular function that you call up. We also have Google. If you are not clear about which particular function you should use to achieve a particular thing, you can just go ahead and ask, okay, what can I use to achieve this? Do I need to do, you get so many options. So that's it.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome. Any other question, please? But with what we already have now, by the time we are through, you have done this on your data, so you're good to go. You can go ahead and do your visualization, which is the next thing we're going to be looking at. But that will not be today. It's by next week, Saturday. Once you have your model, record that modeling is all about helping you to understand the structure of your Power BI, the ability for your tables to talk to each other. So in a situation where you have different tables that you are bringing into Power BI, your ability to relate these tables now, because they are related, and maybe a particular table has the product, one has the customer. It's the same customer that is buying the products and that is placing the order, and maybe at the end of the day, you have your workers, your salesperson who are bringing in these people. At the end of the day, maybe as a manager, you want to be able to say, okay, which of my salesperson is doing well? Which of my salesperson is actually bringing in the highest number of sales? Which of my salesperson, okay, which of my products sells most? By the time you are able to do your modeling, if you don't, the beauty of modeling is that once you're able to get your modeling right, then you can be sure that you're getting your visualization, your answers or your insights, whatever you want to get out from your visualization. You're sure that is what is going to be giving you. But once your modeling is faulty, by the time you start doing your visualization, you even know, because it will be giving you something different from what is like obvious that everybody should know. So modeling is one aspect of Power BI that you shouldn't take for granted. It's very, very important. If you don't get it right, in fact, all the steps are very important, because if you don't even get your data types right, that's where you start having a problem. But by the time you are able to get your cleaning up, your transformation and everything right, then you come over to your modeling and get it. Then your visualization will be much, much easier. Of course, you've already told Power BI, this is what I want you to do. Now go ahead and start looking out for all those things I want you to achieve for me. So that's the beauty of modeling. I think that's it. Any other thing? Am I forgetting anything? Maybe I'll ask my question. And my first question for today is, when you are doing your modeling, when you are creating your relationship. Okay, let's say I want to connect my product ID with my product ID on my orders table. And my product ID is text here. Meanwhile, on this table, it's is a whole number. Would that relationship actually work? Like, is it a good, can you actually model such a relationship? Like, can you actually connect the two data sets? Your product ID here is a text and this is a number. Will it work? That's my first question. Who can answer? Can give it a try. I don't know if people got my question. Is my question clear enough?
Yes, I think so.
Okay. It seems like it's just unhappy that it's in this class. Okay, well, I think we might have to round off for today. But to answer that question, whenever you're doing such relationship, please ensure that your data types is the same. So if it's text here, it ought to be text here. If it's number, it has to be number. If it's a date, it has to be date. So that's actually the correct answer. I think that's all for today. Yeah, that's all for today. I don't know. I hope it's not sounding strange and confusing to you guys because today is looking dull. Uh,
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, Choma. Yeah, I mean, maybe people are getting tired with the modeling talk. Next week, when we get to visualization, everybody will be all.
yeah,
That's like the most interesting part.
modeling is always very boring.
When we get to this,
Yes,
everybody will be pumped up and.
yes, yes. So yeah, thank you, ladies. I think that's all for today. Hopefully,
Okay, thank you.
hopefully by next week it will be more fun when we start looking at the visualizations. Thank you, ladies. I don't know any other input from you, Yinka.
No, nothing from me. Thanks everyone and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Can I ask a question, please, before we go? Are there any recommended like this further reading that you posted, Yinka? Is there anything that could help with DAX? I know you get to know it better as you use it, but is there anything that one could just look at to see, just have an idea of
Okay,
what?
so I will share the Microsoft learning path. There's a Microsoft course on DAX. So I will just find the link. I'll drop it on this channel later so you guys can come and pick it up.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
But really, apart from I'll share the Microsoft course. Apart from that, there are really a lot of videos everywhere online. Sometimes YouTube videos might help better, but the Microsoft course is also good because it has lab, it has like practical and all of that. So I'll just share it.
Okay, thanks.
Okay,
Okay,
that will be all. Good
that's
night,
all.
everyone, and enjoy the rest of your weekend.
Good night.
Goodbye.